Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of my good friends out there around the globe, from Australia to the Philippines to Brazil to the US. You are watching The Experiment with Joe Soro. And tonight, we're going to discuss some things that I usually don't discuss in its highest capacity. I'm usually pretty jolly on my show. I notice a different delivery when I'm on the Lakers Fast Break versus when I'm on my own show. For some weird reason, when I've gone back and looked at the show, I don't curse as much. I don't get as emotional on here. I don't know if it's because I have maybe Gerald pitching me the balls, and then I have guys that are kind of in and around like a team, and it creates that tension, maybe. Or maybe it was just the Lakers pissing me off. But anyways, tonight the Dodgers pissed me off. And they've been pissing me off, and they've been pissing off a lot of people out there as well. You could always feel the tension from our people. Craig, thank you for being here tonight. Always supporting. And I know our good friend Xbox, aka Money Mark, was asking right before the game was over whether we're going to have a show. I wasn't planning on it, but usually stuff that are unplanned, which is really my philosophy in life, are usually the best things in life. So I'm going to get to kind of what's been going on with the Dodgers here for not really, it's been a few weeks. And I keep playing tennis with this in my head. It's still June, but I was saying that all of May. And obviously, we were saying that all in April. But at what point does consistency need to be evaluated with the Dodgers? Are you going to see any consistency in some form besides sucking ass? Now, that's really how I wanted to headline the the show. I went back and forth. I put in the experiment, Dodgers fast pitch. Why do the Dodgers continue to suck? Now, I wanted to say suck ass, but I don't know. I don't know if the YouTube would flag that and make it non-existent out there in the world. So I just put something basic. But I don't understand how you have arguably the most lethal top of the lineup every single game, and you see such it's not just patience, it's just uninterest, not interested at bats, not working the count, not really figuring out how to adapt to whatever is coming to them. They're winning games here, they're winning games there, but I've watched every single game this year, and it just seems like they're playing like I'm going to wait to turn this on later. Now, if there's one sport that you don't want to do that in, is baseball, because you might not be able to turn it on at all. Basketball, because there's only five guys on a team, if one guy decides, hey, maybe I want to turn it on now, maybe there's a chance there. But that even in basketball, it's hard. You got to have like the all-time greats being there, guys like Shaq, guys like Kobe. Football, it's one game a week. That no one's going to really shut anything off at that point, because every game means something. Hockey, I don't know. I haven't been able to follow hockey as much as I used to. I'll have to see when Sean gets on board. We'll see if that's something that happens on a regular basis these days. But tonight was particularly just irritating. You have a walk-off win last night, and I'd like to think that you're going to get some momentum from this. And Tony Gosselin we didn't pitch well tonight. If Kike gets that ground ball in the first inning, at least they get one out, at least. But with how fast that hit was, he should have had the ball, should have had a double play, but it ended up opening up an opportunity for the Mets, and then Mr. Polar Bear ended up taking that out of the house. And the Dodgers probably get out of that inning at the very least with one run, instead of 3. And that changes the whole dynamic of the game. And I was talking to Jeff about this earlier. I didn't know why. Again, guys, I have a life. I try to stay up with this stuff, but sometimes things slip. Apparently, the fouling off the ball off his foot didn't decide the Roberts decided not to have him play. I mean, I don't know what's. I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't know if I'm getting too old. I don't know if it's just like, dude, does everything have to be 100% for these guys to play? I mean, can we take a page out of Cal Ripken's book a little bit sometimes? Can you play hurt a little bit? Do you have to have it at 100%? I can sort of understand for pitchers, you can't really push anything these days, otherwise your arm will fall off. But I don't understand. I don't understand why, if you can stand and move around, like, can you, maybe that missed opportunity by Kike is not there because Kim is there. Kim is a legitimate second baseman. He probably gets that ball, and then they don't score 3 runs in that first inning, and maybe the whole game changes. But Dodgers got particularly lucky tonight because the Padres were about to take over, or well, not in the loss column they would, maybe not in wins, but they were gonna end up probably taking over first place or having one less loss had the Giants not come back there in the end. And they kind of got a little reprieve. But it's just we're sitting here and we're talking about something that I'm worried that we're gonna be talking about in a month and maybe even 2 months. And it's just sitting on this. Well, we got to be ready when it matters. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, guys. It always matters. The mindset of a champion always matters. You play when you can move. If you're really 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 injured, then I understand that, and if you're a pitcher, I understand that. But these games, I don't know at what point are they going to finally realize, hey, we need to start getting this consistency going, making sure the lineups are the same game in and game out, so everybody can have that chemistry. But maybe I'm missing something. Somebody help me. Am I missing something? Am I totally out of the loop in how baseball's being played now? Don't you think that having the same guys playing game in and game out, at least the everyday guys, don't you think that builds some good chemistry with the double plays, with being in the same position game in and game out, and helps? I'm just speaking out of things that I did when I was growing up and what I learned and all that. But the Dodgers really need to start figuring out what they want to be here. And I don't like losing to good teams. They've been basically a 500 team against good teams. I don't care if they beat the Marlins. I don't care if they beat a lowly Cleveland team, even though Cleveland's actually still kind of good. Because should have swept Cleveland, by the way, when they last played. But playing Colorado, like, that's not going to teach them anything. These are the games that teach. And worse, it's at home. They should be winning these series 3-4 for sure. Now they're not. Now that the best they can do is split. And I'm tired of the splits. It seems like every series they're splitting. Losing that third game against the Yankees, that one bothered me. That one still bothers me. They should have swept the Yankees. I mean, they just whooped their ass 18-2. And then you just allow yourself to get whooped the next day. Like, I don't know. I don't get that mentality. I don't get it. You guys had these guys dead for 2 games. Put a freaking nail in them. It let the Dodger fans enjoy a Sunday win too. A sweep of the Yankees. When was the last time the Dodgers swept the Yankees in the regular season? I can't remember. I have to go look at the books, but it tailed into the Mets thing, and it still is. The Dodgers should have lost last night too. This could have been very easily a 3-0 trip so far for the Mets, and I just don't like this. I don't like the baseball that they're playing right now. I don't like anything that's going on right now. Nothing. I like nothing that's going on. I don't like that Otani strikes out twice a game, it seems. He's getting hits. He's getting a couple singles each game or a home run, but I don't like his strikeouts. That changeup is killing him. And if you think that that's not going to be a problem when it matters before it becomes a problem, hopefully, I'd like to see them work this out. They're sitting there worried about Otani pitching. They need to start worrying about Otani being able to handle a changeup. They need to fix that. I would trade that right now for him pitching because I'm out of it with the pitching thing. I don't know if he ends up getting a mosquito bite. Mosquitoes are coming, by the way, folks. It's coming. It's going to be a hot summer. Mosquitoes are going to be here. I don't know, that piece of shit Bill Gates apparently let these somehow work this voodoo with the morons up in Sacramento to unleash a bunch of mosquitoes the last 4 years, and now we're getting bit by mosquitoes every summer the second we get out at dusk. And it was never like that. It wasn't like that the first 15 years I was here. So what then? A mosquito bite's going to take you out? What if a mosquito bite takes a poke at one of the pitcher's index fingers? It's like, what is it? What is it? Make me understand. Make me understand. Is it just stop being a tough guy? Is it get with the times? Baseball needs to start figuring this out. I've been campaigning on this a few weeks. This 300 pitchers on the injured list. 300 pitchers. Let's extrapolate that. There are 30 teams in Major League Baseball. 30. And there's 300 pitchers that are on the IL. That's 10 pitchers a team. What the fuck? Don't you think, if you're going to a hospital or going to a city or a town and all of a sudden you find out that there's 300 people that have an affliction or a disease or an ailment that is all the same, don't you think you should start investigating that? Hey, what are we screwing up here? What the hell is here? I think that's probably the apex or the genesis of this show tonight. It was the Dodgers to a degree, but I'm also trying, because of all this injury bullshit, I want to know how this league is going to figure this out, because every rule that has changed in the last few years is always seemed to be tailored around the pitcher. Pitchers can't go a full 9. Pitchers can't use snot. They can't use earwax. If they do, we're going to check them every inning. We're going to make you pitch under 20 seconds, under 15 seconds, under 10 seconds. And if you don't, we're going to call it a ball. Okay, at what point are you going to start bringing it back to them a little bit? Because it ain't working. They're not lasting. You want spin. You want velocity because you have these analytics that allow the batter to know exactly what's going to happen, except with Dodgers, of course. Except the Dodgers. For some weird reason, they know what's coming, and they still can't hit it lately. I mean, they made Canny look like freaking Bumgarner in the World Series. But this needs to be looked at. The ABS system, Manfred is going to be pushing that, and that's coming. There's no doubt that's coming. That'll solve all these problems with pitching. And as far as the calls, it's going to solve it all. We saw it in spring training. We've gotten an idea of how they're going to run it. It's going to solve all those issues in the same way it solved the issues in tennis with the ball hitting the line, not hitting the line. And it's quick, it's fast, and it's easy. And people will get used to making it work. But they need to start figuring out what they want to do with these pitchers, because this cannot happen. And if the owners are not going to be pushing this, and this is my theory, a lot of theories in this business, right? Can't be too deliberate, but my theory is maybe the owners and whatever don't give a shit. They're like, no, we don't want pitchers to be too good, because then we got to drop $500 million on them. That's one less expense that we have to throw out there. We'll throw $700 million at Otani. He's different. He's going to bring back a bill. And then once in a while, we'll throw almost $800 million to Juan Soto for what, 240 batting average and practically a one-armed man out in right field. That happens once in a while. It falls through the cracks. What, Bobby Wood Jr. might get 400 here soon? Tucker out in Chicago might get another, what, 500? But that's once in a while here and there, right? And it's not going to be Colorado or Miami or Pittsburgh. What is Skeens going to get? And when is Skeens going to get his Tommy John surgery with the force that he pitches with? And this is what it's come to. I got to worry about some pitcher who I feel will eventually be a Dodger, but I'm worried about his arm without him being a Dodger for the future. That's how bad it is right now in Major League Baseball for pitchers. So I implore you, the Major League Baseball Players Association, the strongest association in sports, please, can you talk to the owners and Manfred and see, hey, look, I know that there's something coming up here. There might be a lockout. There might be a salary cap discussion, whatever. Fuck all that. How about we solve this pitching problem? Let them have something in there. You let the guys have pine tar. You let them have batting gloves. You let them have elbow covers. You let them have foot covers. You let them have neck covers. You let them wear turtlenecks. You let them wear hard hats. Can you do something for the pitcher now? A little bit? So that they can last. Are you worried that they're going to be more 1-0 games? Is that really why? Are you just wanting offense? Is that why you don't give a shit either? Because all this shit I'm talking about right now is why the Dodgers are playing like this. It's why the Dodgers paid so much money in the offseason to have depth up the yin-yang so that they can make it through 162. But now I think I'm done with this discussion in the normal manner. Oh, have balls. Oh, grow a pair. Oh, what happened back in the day? Like, I already did that, right? But it's not going to do anything. At some point, you get to a point where just yapping, even if it's common sense, even if it's the right thing, it's not going to solve the problem. The problem right now is you need to start focusing on why your pitchers are dying. That needs to get fixed. And if it means that they need to get a little bit of something, we're in America, okay? We're in the 2025. Not only in America, you got other countries that are smart with science and all these. Can you let these guys have something so that they don't kill their arms? That's going to be important. Pitching, the kids pitching in the minor leagues, kids pitching in travel ball. You want to teach them how to pitch like Greg Maddux. Believe me when I say this, guys. If that was solving the problem, they would have done it by now. No one can pitch like Greg Maddux. And I'm not saying because they can't physically do it. They can't because it won't work. The hitters have too much information now, and they're too powerful, and they're too focused on taking that ball and sending it out. So they'll just wait for their pitch. If you're going to be painting the corners and that's what you're going to do without any velocity or movement, you're going to get taxed. We don't live in that world anymore. This is not the 90s. This is not the 80s. What's crazy is batting averages were so much higher back then too. I think you'd have 400 hitters right now if they pitched like they used to. Just what it is. But my thing is, can you give the pitcher some help now? Can you let them have less stress on the arm if they have to have the velocity, if they have to have the 98? I remember growing up, I was always told that if you were a lefty and could throw 95 miles an hour, I'm talking a four-seam or a two-seam fastball, you would like I remember I said it for years when I was growing up. I'm like, man, if I have a son and he's a lefty, I'm gonna put him in baseball and I'm gonna have him pitch. Because left-handed pitchers back then, essentially you had a couple $2 million, like Jesse Orosco, right? Like that kind of player, ex-Dodger, right? Ex-Met, I think, too. And I remember saying, man, this guy makes, a great living coming in for about 10 minutes for 15 years, plus years. What a way to live, right? work for about 10 minutes, but because you're a lefty, you can throw it 95 miles an hour. Shoot, man, they'd send that thing to the Dodgers stadium parking lot now without even hesitation if it's not moving. So, what do you do? What do you do other than try to start addressing this issue with the pitchers? I'm sorry, 300 pitches is too much. It's just too much. This has nothing to do with the Dodgers. It does has some. It's actually it does have something to do with the Dodgers, but this is a league problem. Corbin Burns right now is I'm thinking he's trying to get a second opinion to see if he doesn't have to have TJ. Maybe the first opinion said he was, but he's like, no, I can't do this. So where do we go from here? What do the Dodgers do now? Do they just keep playing essentially 500 ball? That's pretty much what they're doing right now, whether they're on the road or whether they're at home. So since Friday, since I went to that amazing game with amazing atmosphere, and then they whooped them again, whooped New York on Saturday, I'm thinking, man, finally we're going to get a nice little sweep here. They lost 2 in a row after that, barely won last night, and then got their ass kicked tonight. Completely ruined the New York run. I was thinking, hey man, sweep the Yankees, win 3 out of 4 against the Mets, and you have a hell of a freaking week beating the shit out of New York. But we couldn't even get that at home. So now what? What are the Dodgers going to do? What are they going to do? I so many different things, but it just makes me feel outdated. It makes me feel outdated. I have nothing to say that anyone will listen to, and I get snickers when I say it. Oh, Joe, God, it's June. They're just getting everybody back. Blah 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 blah. That's all I get. Eyes rolled and relax. It's June. Okay, we'll see. And I see. And I don't want to be that guy later saying I told you so. I hate that shit. I don't want to be that guy. I want this team to freaking win. But it's hard to get excited about lackadaisical baseball, even in May, even in June, even in July. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2 here and there. I'm talking about an entire month of it. 500 baseball. I don't like it. And this is going to be sacrilege, but I have not liked Otani's discipline at the plate. Today he had 2 singles, which God, I'm getting ads on my link here and it's screwing up my entire voice. Sorry guys, 1 second. I don't even know where it's coming from. ESPN is starting to go downhill, guys. ESPN is absolutely going downhill. So I just went into the ESPN box score. I'm just trying to look at the box score, and they have now they have forced the volume to play the ad that's on there. Before you'd have to kind of scroll over it to listen to it. Now it just pops up while you're on the page. So ESPN, go fuck yourself and your app that you're going to charge apparently $20 or 29.99 for a month here soon. I'm hearing that, by the way. ESPN is going down the shitter. ESPN used to be the greatest, and they had their time. Now it's over. It's starting to get to that point. So we're going to need to find another way to get our information because they're absolutely. I'm wondering who's going to buy them out. I'm honestly, I don't know how long Disney's going to keep it. They keep hiring dimwits, and they keep screwing everything up and making everything an ad. Just you know, you're supposed to create quality, not make shit worse. Anyways, so looking at the Dodgers schedule, I'm gonna pull up the schedule here real quick, and I'm gonna try to figure out what's in store here with these guys. What's the next? What is going to be the next because I know the Mets are good, and I know the Yankees are good, and I know they've been playing some really good teams. But um, let's see. So we got one more against New York tomorrow, and then they have to go to St. Louis, and then they have to come back and play San Diego, San Francisco, and then play a 4-game set against San Diego at home. So the Dodgers don't really have much of a break. Nope. 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 Giants are playing well. Padres are playing well. St. Louis and St. Louis. Dodgers haven't been too good on the road. Their St. Louis is good. They're only 4.5 games back of the lead in the Central. So yeah, Dodgers are gonna have to start figuring out if they want to start playing here now. I don't know any way. I might go to a game. I might go to a Wednesday game in San Diego. Might go to that one. Hopefully, it's one where they're going to be able to sweep those guys because they're in need of sweeping someone that plays well at home. I think that's something that needs to happen. Let me get to some of your comments here, guys. Sorry. Jeremy, hey Ox, mate, long time no talk. Good to see you again, mate. Happy. Hope you're well, bro. Yes, thank you, Jeremy. I am doing very well. Other than the losing from the Dodgers, things have been great. This last weekend, going to Dodger Stadium on Friday. Didn't get a chance to connect with Aaron. Didn't get a chance to connect with Jeff because everybody went on Saturday and Sunday. But that we were in communication, of course. But it was a great atmosphere. I cannot say that it might have been the best baseball game I'd ever been to. I had a friend from out of town who came in, who's a huge New York guy, huge Yankee fan. So we were able to connect, get to the stadium, enjoy some adult beverages, and enjoy a very, very good game. A very, very, very entertaining game, by the way. That Friday's game was awesome. Playing New York, watching the two best players in the league, in my view, go tit for tat. Judge hit a home run. Otani answered the following inning, and then Otani ended up following it with a second home run and a win. Basically, and at that time, that's kind of where my excitement kind of started. I was like, man, let's just take New York. Let's just own New York like we've owned New York for the last freaking year. I thought they were going to roll through the Yankees the whole weekend, and they did the following night, beat them 18-2. And I'm like, just put your foot in their mouth on Sunday and sweep these guys. And let's get ready for the Mets. Let's take 3 out of 4 against the Mets at least. Just didn't happen. I think they got lackadaisical. I don't know, whatever it is that they do. And now we have to hope for a split. Hopefully they come out tomorrow and and answer for the last 3 games. Maybe a nice 10-1 game would be a good way to close this before they start going to St. Louis, and then when they get back to San Diego. So we'll see. Let me get to some of your comments, guys. Sorry, I got to go up to the top here real quick. I haven't talked to you guys in a minute, so I'll have to catch up on all that. Let's see here. Robert sucks. Vari, let me get back to you on that one. I'm still not in the Dave Roberts screwed things up area yet. I don't know. I didn't like that Kim didn't play today, and Jeff had told me that it was because he hit off his foot, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Welcome everyone. Good. Craig, hi Joe. Hello. I think that will change. We'll change what? We have another month of Conforto until Conforto is hitting. We got to create a new line. There used to be a line called the Mendoza line. I think Craig. I think we're gonna start calling the line below 200 because that was what the Mendoza line was, batting 200. Batting 100 or 1.5, almost 1.5, like Conforto does. Maybe we should start calling it the Conforto line. It doesn't roll off the tongue as well, but that's what it is, right? So I don't know what they're going to do with Conforto, but they're apparently looking for a left-handed batter. I'd say Conforto's really bad right now, and rushing is horrible right now. By the way, he's either getting a base hit every 5 days or striking out. It's like base hit every five at every fifth game, whatever, and then it's all strikeouts. I thought Roberts should have subbed him out when they had two on earlier, later when the game was still kind of in the balance a little bit. They were only down 3-0. They had two men on, one out. I thought they should have switched out rushing for at least Will Smith or something. But looking back on that, I know they had to play rushing, and I know rushing kind of came out the gates doing well, but the league has already adjusted to him, and they're really handling him right now. He needs to adjust back. But Barnes wasn't hitting too bad when he wasn't playing, or when he was playing, and it makes that DFA kind of look bad right now. Aaron, what's up? Roberts punted the game when he put in Rojas for Freeman. What the F? Yeah, I don't know what that was about either. That's probably one of those things where Vari's right on the what the hell is Roberts doing? It's rest. Let's just rest everybody the whole year. And the problem with resting people now is, are you going to let Detroit kind of have some separation, and are you gonna toy with the fact that you have two teams kind of nipping at your rear? The Padres and the Giants don't seem like they're going to go away. Giants kind of looked like they were going away a little bit, but they came back tonight and saved the Dodgers' ass from getting out of first place, by the way. So at some point, you want to rest guys. I prefer to rest guys when you have a 10-game lead in late August, early September. Not right now. Right now, they're fresh. Things don't get heavy till about August when shit really gets hot and you're already in it 3.5 months. So more than that, 4 months. But what do I know, right? I'm just some asshole in an office talking sports, not ever have managed in a baseball game, right? That's always the excuse, I guess, now. Walks and defense have cost them. Yeah, defense has cost them, and the reason why it's cost them is because there's no consistency on the field. That's the consistency that we've always been taught as sports people. This is in any sport, that defense always should be there. Now, the problem with baseball is defense and offense are in one. You don't have it like in basketball is the same way too, but some guys are in there for defensive purposes, much like baseball. But they're there all the time as long as they're not hurt, right? With baseball, because you're doing this analytics matchup BS all the time, or someone gets a hangnail and you got to take them out, that consistency has been horrible. I think Roberts needs to start really letting this team stay consistent on that defensive field. Leave Pages at center. Conforto sucks right now. For right now, he sucks, but he's good at left field. You have Teo at right. Keep Kim at second. You got Mookie at short. You have Muncy at third. You got Free at first, and then you have Will Smith. I understand you got to move Smith out here and there for rushing. That's fine too. Rushing can get guys out too, by the way. So, but I think they need to start playing that lineup regularly instead of switching out every other game or every game, so that they can get good at defense. Because a lot of these losses, a lot of these eruptions in these innings were due to errors. The Dodgers almost lost last night because of Muncy's error. Tonight, I believe they lost because of Kike's error. Yeah, in the first inning. The first inning cost the Dodgers this game because it sets a tone. It sets the Dodgers looked like they were they just weren't interested in playing tonight. So, can we get some consistency on the field? Put your best defenders out there. If you're going to have Conforto out there because he can play defense in left field, then do it. Or figure it out. Put Pages at left, put Edmund at center, and keep him there, and put Kim at second. That's the lineup I would run with. Run it, run it, run it, run it. As soon as they get healthy, whatever that means, let them get healthy. And can you stick to one lineup? So this is the lineup I want. It's the lineup I want, not suggesting. This is what I want. I want Pages at left, Edmund at center, Teo at right. I want Kim at second, Mookie at short, Muncy at third, Freeman at one, and then Will at catcher. And I'd like to have that lineup more than just 2 games in a row. I don't even know if that lineup has even been done 2 games in a row yet. Probably has, but I just can't remember, even though I've watched every game. That's my suggestion here soon. Let's see what else we got here. Promises he isn't on the Mets anymore. Conforto is still Metting. First it was he's Metting or he's sabotaging as a Giant, and then Tanner Scott is sabotaging for the Padres. My swearing jar is full. It's going to tip over soon. Yeah, it's. I've said a few here tonight, but I'm pretty tame on here for the most part. Ohtani has no runners on base. Yeah, so this is another problem that the Dodgers have had, and I'm not going to. This is again the consistency, right? Now, when he has had people on base, he hasn't come through, but it's because it's just once in a great while. But I'm not going to say that Roberts isn't trying. Roberts has set up lineups where he had Edmund at 8 and Kim at 9. There's nothing else you can do, guys. That's what you want. You almost basically have 3 leadoff hitters before you even get to Mookie, who's really a leadoff hitter. So I love that lineup, by the way. I love Edmund at 8, love Kim at 9. Or you can switch those guys out sometimes so you can get Kim on base with Edmund, and then maybe you can steal a base with Edmund at the plate and then guarantee that there won't be a double play. Then you can guarantee that Ohtani is going to have at least somebody in scoring position when he gets up to bat. Things like that if there's only one out. Again, I'm just some guy in an office with a mic that's never managed in baseball. Let's see. Ohtani is swinging at everything and why. So, Aaron, I went back and looked at last year's season. Ohtani struck out on the average once every single game. He had 162 strikeouts. Ohtani goes for the big ball, much like everyone else in this game. I think Arias is the only one that doesn't do that. He's just he's Ichiro, right? Just a singles guy and don't strike out. Those guys. That's why he's been on like 3 teams in 3 years. That doesn't cut the lettuce or the tomatoes or the onions in today's baseball. And Ohtani's been able to hover around that 300 mark still, although he is down in the 80s now. Actually, he might have gone up to the 90s, 290s now since he had 2 singles. I got to look at that. But if Ohtani is batting anywhere around 290 and hitting 24 home runs, no one's going to tell him what to do. And he's on pace to hit 60 home runs. My thing is, I just want Ohtani to be the scariest mother, you know what, when playoff time comes, because that's what he was last year. And consistency. And word is that Blake Snell is supposed to come back for the San Diego series. So you get Snell back. And I also heard Triton's going to be back in a month. So now you'll have your closer back with Tanner Scott. So that'll help. We got mixed something with Glasnow. Roberts wasn't too happy a couple days ago, but then Glasnow was interviewed, I think today or yesterday, that he's fine. I tend to believe Roberts when it comes to that stuff. Roberts usually doesn't mince words when it comes to whether something is good or bad. And plus, it's Glasnow. Glasnow, I think in the end, is just going to be some guy that they're going to hold off until probably August. When August hits, then he'll start ramping up back into let's get this guy ready for the playoffs and then go from there. And then they still got to figure out if Otani's going to pitch in a month or 2 weeks. We don't know what's going on there. How is this thing going to work out? Is Goslin the guy? Is May the guy? Yeah, they're pretty damn good pitchers. The problem is they got screwed by defense. Kershaw, if Muncy gets that ball yesterday, probably gets out of that inning without too much damage. So is it really going to either the Dodgers are going to either need guys that can shut down anyone at the plate at any time, or they're going to have to deal with the fact that they have low leverage starting pitching, especially at the beginning of the game, especially in the first freaking inning. Maybe put out another guy over there, man. Put Dryer in there for every freaking game to start the first. Jesus Christ. Every game, they got to score in the first inning. Solve that problem. How about that? Forget about all the shit that I'm talking about. Solve the first inning run distribution issue. Every game, I'm having like my stomach in my chest about, are these guys going to allow a run already in this damn game? One of the good things about playing on the road is they get to start that inning. Nothing is worse. Nothing is worse. You allow a run or two in the first inning, and then your top three guys go 1, 2, 3. That is the biggest like jerk off thing that happens with this team, and it should never happen. You should never have that happen on a consistent basis. That's just not. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. Figure it out, guys. Jesus, figure it out. Because if I gave you some options, you just tell me to shut up anyways. When are you going to come on playback next, brother? Sorry, I'm sure if you're talking to me here. You're talking to Aaron. Sorry. Let's see. So here's another thing. Mets have home field advantage in the playoffs if these two play in October. See, that is the problem for me. That's a problem. So looking at the standings right now, the Mets have won 39 games. They're up 2 games now. And I believe, let me see, they have the season series. Let's hold on a second here. So they've won, I think they win the season series, right? Hold on, let me look. Where are we here? So the Mets 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Yeah. So they've won the season series. Even if the Dodgers win tomorrow, they're up 4-3. I think that's the last game they play against the Mets. I'd have to go look at that, by the way. I think tomorrow's the last game they play against the Mets. So if they win tomorrow, they'll be up 3 games. I know it's early. That part, I know it's early, but they lose the tiebreaker down the road. Be careful, guys. Just saying, be careful. You need speed at the top of lineup like him and Edmund. Otani not stealing anymore. So that's an interesting comment there, Craig. That's an interesting one. Do they make that decision if they continue to play like this for another month and then he pitches? So what happens when he pitches? Do they move him down to 2 or 3? I don't know. It's a good question. Good comment, though. Let's see. Where else are we? What's with everyone getting injured, Joe? What is it with everyone getting injured? With pitching, we all know what that is. We just discussed it for the last 45 minutes. With guys that are everyday guys that are playing, I don't know. Am I gonna go through a baseball season too, talking about how soft these guys are, like I did in the NBA? Is everyone soft? Well, not everyone. Football players aren't soft. But see, football players don't have guaranteed contracts. They have to play, and they play once a week. Well, sometimes they play once a week. Sometimes they'll play 3 times in 9 days because of that idiot Goodell and his scheduling with his Thursday night games and Friday night games and all whatever. But I don't know any other answer to that, Hon, other than they're just they're they need to play, I guess, at 100%. Any kind of ailment, they sit down. And is it their decision? I don't know. I would like to think that if I wanted to play, I don't give a shit what Dave Roberts is saying. I'm like, hey, dude, I want to play. Play me. Freeman does it. Isn't Freeman's ankle like in shambles? Just saying. It's up to the player. In my view, I unless it's a crucial moment in a game and you need to have certain things, uh, regular season, man, you gotta play. You gotta tell your manager, hey man, I want to play. I don't give a shit if I'm injured. Yeah, the different beast, man. Those guys played together for what was it, 9 years? I think they're the most. I think that infield played more years together than any infield in the history of baseball. If I remember correctly, I think it was 9 years straight, where it was Lopes, Garvey, Say, and Russell. Pretty remarkable. I just wish they had won at least another World Series against those Yanks in '78 or '78. '78 would have that series should have been theirs. They won 2 games in that series to start the series. They ended up losing the last 4. The Angels series we got swept. Yeah, that was a bad law. That right there was a really stupid sweep. Like you can't let the Angels sweep you, dude. Like, where's your pride? Gary A. Joe, you're spot on with everything you're saying. Thank you. I'd like to think that after watching every single game and every single spring training game, except for the one that wasn't televised, that it was that was a double game that day. I was in Arizona watching the Chicago White Sox and the Dodgers. I'd like to think I think I know kind of what's going on now. Homers are all good, but when he Ks, he looks dreadful. Yeah, it's bad. His inability to hit the changeup and the slider on the lower uh low and away. He tends to really guess on that a little too much. Can't reach it. He cannot reach that pitch, and he's got to let these guys know that he can see it. I don't know what it is. I'm I can't really speak on Otani. Otani's the boss, so it's hard to kind of criticize him. But there is some issues with too many strikeouts in my view, and also the inability to hit the changeup. I'd like to I'd like to see I'd like to see that change a little bit because he would go into a Barry Bonds area if he can do that, where if he's either hitting home runs or he's taking walks. I would prefer walks and home runs with a strikeout maybe once every 3 or 4 days, but that's just me. Otani has stopped stealing when he started pitching. I mean, he stopped stealing like now. I don't think they want him. And to me, it's what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of him popping his shoulder again? I mean, are you going to play afraid all the time? Are you going to constantly be afraid all the time? What happens when you're always afraid all the time? And maybe this is my mindset. Maybe I'm messed up like this. But dude, it's still sports, man. It's still you're athletes. You're supposed to play hard. Stop worrying about getting hurt. Just stop. You get hurt, okay. You tried. I don't know if it's playing like a wuss is any better. Glass arm is a mosquito bite away from shutting it down. I honestly, Gary, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, the mosquito problem here was self-inflicted, or not self. I'm sorry, not self-inflicted, but it was man-made, much like other things. I won't mention. You know what I'm talking about. Because I was here, I've been in my area since 2009. We never got shoot. I've been in Southern California since 1996. I got bit by mosquitoes maybe like 3 or 4 times in from 1996 in Southern California until about 2021. And then all of a sudden I started walking outside a few years ago, and I'm getting destroyed. I'm an A positive blood guy. I guess they like that particular blood. They also like my kids and my wife's blood. They're all O's. Yes, I do agree with that one, sports baby, and for many things, by the way. Yeah, pitch clock and velocity is. I mean, pitch clock was kind of the last straw. I think that probably took them out even more. It didn't help. Let's just put it that way. But it helped the game. But they need to start doing something with helping the pitchers, man. Increase pitch clock. I don't know necessarily if that's going to be something they want to do. Let's see. The reason why he hasn't taken away the Houston Astros is because he was able to convince them to snitch on each other. So this is how the world works now, guys. You snitch on your people, get people fired, ruin their rep, and we'll let you keep your rings. Oh, and you'll get rewarded by keeping your rings. That was the deal he made. That's why he didn't take it away. He wanted he's like a lawyer that wants to win the case, not do the right thing. So by plea bargaining with them, by saying, "Hey, just snitch," just like mafia, the mafia deals that you've seen, I'm sure, plenty of times on all the crime shows. Get somebody to snitch, bow out, and we'll give you somewhat of immunity. You'll go in jail. You go to jail for X amount of years, but you'll be able to get out, or you'll have witness protection. So in this case, he got them to confess that they cheated, but the return on that was you'll keep your rings, and I'll deal with the backlash. But I'll win in the fact that that there's no secret that you guys want or not. Like he didn't do what that idiot in the NFL did, where he burned the tapes when they caught the Patriots cheating. I believe it was Super Bowl 36, Rams, Patriots. I believe without hesitation that the Patriots won that Super Bowl because they were taping all of the Rams practice that week and ended up winning that game because of it. And I think it was on those tapes that he burned. That proof to me that it wasn't. Well, why would you burn the tapes? Only so Manfred might have learned from that and said, "I'm going to get these guys to admit it, but we'll deal with it. We'll deal with the trophy thing in a way where, so what? Like, okay, we take it away, now what? Well, taking it away without having anybody admit it to it would have been a much better way because it would have validated what the Dodgers did that year. But anyways, F. Roberts and his analytics. It's not just Roberts, man. If you don't like the infinite pitching mound visits, that's one thing. Yeah, I don't know necessarily. It's still baseball, man. You got to do your job. I don't really look. To me, I'm a baseball guy. I get that you want the game to go quicker, but how? You got stuff going on. You got strategy. It takes time. But the pitchers need time to rest between pitches. They got to look into that, man. They got to look into that. That's helped guys like Nolan Ryan pitch so long. Okay, Aaron. Here's the thing. By the way, if you guys ever want to watch a really good doc, I didn't think it was going to be this good. Watch the Nolan Ryan documentary on Netflix. It is very entertaining and very good. And if you do that, or you want to go on YouTube and look at this, I want you guys to watch how Nolan Ryan used to pitch. Everything other than the release of the ball came from his hips and his legs and his core. That's why he lasted 27 years. 27 years. And this was not Greg Maddux. This wasn't Tom Glavine. This guy sent heat. This guy was Orlandis Chapman of the 70s, 80s, 90s. So he pitched hard. He was a flamethrower, and he lasted 27 seasons. Now, genetics also, I'm sure, played a part. It was kind of the perfect storm with genetics, mechanics, and probably the era. But all his power came from here and his legs, which is it didn't strain his arm as much. Watch how he used to pitch, and you'll know what I mean. Let's see. Nomar flirted with 499. Yeah, Nomar was good. Nomar was real good. When he was focused, he was as good as a hitter as anybody was in that era, especially during that time. But and I don't know if he ever used any. I don't think there's any documentation or any lists that had him on anything, at least not from what I know. Uh, but the thing that held Nomar back in his career is he was a little sensitive. And it wasn't a sensitivity like Barry Bonds. See, Barry Bonds would get irritated and sensitive, but then he would take it out on you. Nomar's focus would come off a little bit when they were talking about the A-Rod thing before he got traded in '04. He got flustered because he was struggling, and then all of a sudden they're hearing all the A-Rod noise, blah, blah, blah. And he never really got over that. And it always cracks me up how guys like, dude, who are you? Like, Nomar is a very, very, very good player. I wouldn't say he's an all-time great, but a very good player. Not a Hall of Famer in my book. But like, who are you? Wayne Gretzky got traded. Michael Jordan played for the Wizards. Joe Montana got cut. Peyton Manning got cut. Well, I'm sorry. Montana got traded, but essentially they went another way, right? Mind you, this is Peyton Manning, right? 7-time MVP for Andrew Luck. Joe Montana for Steve Young. So who's Nomar Garcia Parra to have the ego to say, "Oh, you can't treat me this way"? Like, get over it, dude. This is sports. This is how it works. But other than that, when he was on, he was as good as anybody on that in that hitting department, man. And he did some good stuff too when he was in LA too. Saw probably the best on TV, the best regular season game I might have ever seen, which was the 4 straight homer game, down 9-5 against San Diego, and he ended up hitting a 2-run jack to win the game in extra innings to top off that evening. That was a crazy game. I remember just I like totally forgot about the game, ended up watching it the last few innings and then saw that comeback. It was nuts. Let's see. I don't care. These get back to some of the most recent stuff here. Jeremy, are we going for OKC or the Pacers? Ox? I don't have a preference, Jeremy. I don't have a preference. I couldn't care less who wins or loses this one, and that's nice. It's nice to know because we can actually enjoy the series. When you don't have any skin in the game, and it's always rare that happens too. Like last year, obviously we needed the Celtics to lose. The year before, uh, we're sort of cheering for Miami because we didn't want Denver to win, and then 2022 we desperately wanted the Celtics to lose, and they did. And then 2021, I'd say 2021 was probably the last one where I was like, is Phoenix gonna win? Sure, okay. Milwaukee gonna win? Cool. Giannis is gonna win. So yeah, uh, maybe let's really get a good 6 games because I don't think it's gonna take more than 6 for Oklahoma City to win because I think Oklahoma City is gonna win. I think they're gonna put the clamps on the Pacers. I think they're gonna win the first 2 games at home. Split in Indiana. Maybe Indiana surprises Oklahoma City and ends up winning Game 5 in some weird way like that, and then Oklahoma City closes them out in Indiana or something like that. Or they could go 2-2. Everyone wins their home games, and then Thunder win Game 5, and then they close it out in 6. I'd say if I had to bet, that's probably how it might go, just because Indiana can get on a heater, especially at home. Sure. Or Could be a sweep. Maybe Oklahoma City whoops them in the first two games and win a close one in three and win it in four, or barely get out of four and win it in five at home. It's a crapshoot at that point. I don't really know how it's going to all play out, because at the end of the day, you still have to focus on the fact that what if somebody gets hurt, because that seems to have been going on for a while now. Feels like ever since that 2019 NBA Finals, there's always someone really getting hurt that ends up costing a team a trip to the championship when they're supposed to go. So I have Oklahoma City winning, and the West winning. I'd say if I had to pick for some reason, I'd rather the West win. Although Pacers do have an interesting stat that Sean was really good at finding this statistic. He has a list of teams that have never paid the luxury tax, and one of those teams is the Indiana Pacers. So since 2012, since this new system's kind of taken its course at its current peak in a little way, even though it's kind of adjusted up a little bit, there's never been an NBA champion that's paid a luxury that hasn't paid a luxury tax. So if Indiana wins this series, they will have been the first NBA team since the luxury tax the last 13 years that has won a championship. So it'll make Silver and all the boys happy, right? Get to keep their money and keep other people's money and still win a championship. Why do the Dodgers travel back east to start a road trip? I don't know. I don't know who does. Is it the Midwest couple that does the baseball schedule? I heard something about that. I can't remember though if it was the NBA. I think it was the NBA that a couple does it. But I don't know. I don't know why they do that. But don't the Dodgers have like two planes that they send out? I don't think that should be a problem. Let's see. Oh yeah, that blowout on Saturday. Made me wish I was there for that one. Thank God I didn't go on Sunday. I was really close to going Sunday. Let's see. Aaron was another. Yeah, Dodgers should have swept the Yankees, man. Let's see. What's with Halliburton so hot and cold? Has one amazing game that disappears, going MIA. Well, depending on the defensive assignment. I think a lot of times if you just stay in front of Halliburton, you can put the screws to him a little bit. That's why I think that's if the Oklahoma City Thunder can do that on a regular basis, that's probably what will end up taking out the Pacers in an early series. Andrew J's about a little over 200 for the Dodgers. Of course he did. When you become a Dodger, you get worse unless it's Manny Ramirez. Dodgers aren't taking advantage on Muncie's hot streak. So yeah, that's the sad part. So you decide to start sucking ass when Max starts to hit. So imagine if the front part of the team, if the front lineup was hitting normal, getting on base and things like that. Imagine how different that would be for Max hitting at 6. Every little thing helps, man. Conforto is definitely on thin ice. I think it's common sense that if he continues to play like this for another month before the All-Star break, then I think they're going to start. I think Freeman is. It's very hard for me to get on Freeman for anything. Freeman did everything this offseason, guys. He did everything this offseason. He got a closer for a closer. He got a left fielder, right fielder for another right fielder. Like, he backed up everything in the offseason. I am not going to get on Andrew Friedman in any way on this team. This has got to go to the accountability of the player and a little bit of Roberts, who manages the team, and trying to see if Roberts can somehow put a fire in some of these guys and say, hey, look, you need to start playing a little bit more when you're uncomfortable too. Again, that's just me. Thank you for that, Jeremy. Joey, before we can we get a little bit of thoughts on game one? Game one of the NBA Finals. I am predicting a Oklahoma City blowout. I'm predicting 110-91, something like that. I think Oklahoma City, after beating Denver in that seventh game, went through the threshold. In mythology, it's the threshold. That's what they call it, right? So, good description of that is in Star Wars when Luke and Obi-Wan and R2D2 and C3PO, when they go to that bar, right, the cantina, that's called the threshold. They went from the innocence of his upbringing with his protected uncle and aunt to now going through the threshold of, that hey, you're not in Kansas anymore threshold, right? Oklahoma City had that in Game 7 against Denver because Denver made that series what it was because they have the MVP. No disrespect to SGA, but Jokic is the MVP this year. And Denver had that championship fire still. They were battling as much as they could, no matter how injured Jamal was, no matter how injured Michael Porter Jr. was, no matter how injured Aaron Gordon was. They fought and they fought and they fought, and Oklahoma City said, "Man, these guys are still killing it and killing it." And guess what? We were able to still put them down. Once they won that, anybody who's been watching basketball knew they probably handled Minnesota pretty well. And then Indiana, you could say, was probably playing a little bit above their heads, but they had shown signs. I mean, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. The problem was Halliburton was hurt, so it made it easy for the Celtics to get through that. So they were building too. Indiana's been building too, but I don't think they have the defense like Oklahoma City defense, which in a lot of ways the NBA, the NFL have destroyed. Uh, Dagnott has somehow managed to, with the right tools, of course, getting Caruso might end up being one of the best transactions for Oklahoma City. Might end up winning him a championship for it. By the way, congrats to Caruso for that, much deserved champion already. Hope I'm cheering for. I'm cheering for. I'll always cheer for Caruso. Caruso is the quintessential team player, the quintessential championship medal type guy, a guy that never took anything for granted, played his ass off, and became a valuable part of championship teams. The Derek Fisher of, if they win this series, if Oklahoma City wins this series, he'll be like the Derek Fisher of this era. That's how important that guy is. So yeah, Oklahoma City, my prediction, blowout game 1 in Oklahoma City, and on the way to eventual championship. Sorry, Dodgers more important. Well, see, Mark, this is the experiment. We talk Dodgers, we talk Lakers, we talk football, we talk lifestyle. Sometimes we'll throw in a little politics, although I don't like to go into politics too much because it tends to get stupid because you're talking about stupid people. I'll throw in a couple things here and there, but I don't want to ever be a political analyst or a political discussion guy on any of this. It's just it does nothing. At least with sports, there's a beginning and there's an end, right? There's a game to be played and it changes every day, every week, every other day, every season. There's a cause and effect in those things where most of the stuff that's in politics it's just same old with just different styles of shit. You don't cut the mustard, brother. I forgot what that sign was, by the way. So I'm a little late, guys. So if you guys are coming and listening to me now, I was talking some things a few minutes ago, maybe even like 20 minutes ago, and I'm catching up to all the comments. So I think I said cut the bread or something, or cut the sandwich, cut the mustard, brother. Man, Hulk Hogan, man, talk about a guy that's getting it really hard right now. He got booed really bad when he came out. What was it, a few months ago? And I guess he's starting his own wrestling gig now, whatever. And all that embellishing, let's just call it that, all that embellishing in all his interviews are starting to catch up to him. No one believes anything he says. It turns out that most of the stuff he's saying are a bunch of lies. So if you're Terry Bollea is his real name, Terry, if you're listening, you're on Mount Rushmore, brother. You're on Mount Rushmore, and no one can take you off that, dude. No one. Okay, it's you, it's Andre, it's Austin, and it's Ric Flair. You guys are there. Just stop lying. Stop embellishing. Just be normal or fuck off. Go away. Then no one. Then you don't have to worry about putting yourself in awkward positions. Because why do you have to? You don't have to justify anything. Kopech and Yates are approaching their comebacks. Yeah, Kopech is. Jeff had talked about Kopech possibly being a candidate for starting because Kopech wants to start. I don't know if the Dodgers are going to let him do that. I don't. I wouldn't. But maybe that could be an option down the road. I don't know. But Yates coming back, Trident coming back, Kopech coming back. You're now getting all your high leverage pitchers ready, and those guys, I don't mind if they kind of sort of get things go slow on that. I'm talking about the day to day guys that I'd like to have some consistency with because relief pitchers they go 1 year where they're amazing, 1 year they stink. 1 year they'll be really amazing again, and then the following year they'll be average. That's just how that goes. They have enough depth there, and we didn't come into the season thinking Jack Dreyer and the Trevinos and those guys were going to end up doing what they did. And they're right now for me, Jack's my guy, man. Jack, if Jack does not get hurt, God help us, please don't go get hurt. You got another high leverage arm, a left-handed high leverage arm now that you can use when Yates gets back, when Kopech gets back, when Trident gets back. Losing Phillips was a nut punch, but by having Jack there, having Jack replace that with a left, ooh, I think that's a win. I think that's a win, especially when it comes down to playoff time. So we're going to get a chance to hopefully see that, and once that time comes. No more Stratton and that guy who gave up the bomb to pay. Yeah, see that the thing is, Aaron is he punted this game, dude. He didn't give a damn. And that's another part of this. It's still 3-0, Roberts. Why aren't you trying to win the game? Sometimes that drives me. I can't get out of that one either. I don't care that it's June. It's still 3-0, man. You have Otani, Betts, and Freeman, and your fourth hitter is got 42 RBIs. I know he's been struggling a little bit with the strikeouts, but all it takes is one, right? Just like Muncy. Look at Muncy. It's baseball. Muncy hits a couple home runs. All of a sudden now you can't stop hitting home runs. That's how baseball is. I don't know. I wouldn't have done that. I wasn't too happy with that one. I wanted him to play. I want them to play to win when they're only down 3. I don't know about this punting game garbage. I don't think I'll ever accept that. Ox, can we get thoughts on tomorrow's first? It seems like everybody's getting those. You guys got it. Okay. Mets fan here. If Dodgers have healthy pitching in October, I think you'll have the advantage over us. Adorable Snowflake, thank you for being here tonight. Please like and subscribe and click on the alert button. Look, I'm a pretty belligerent guy, Adorable Snowflake. But I do talk facts with that emotion. And right now, the Mets have too much money in their team and too much talent on their team because they came into this season thinking that they were going to be scoring runs with guys like Soto and obviously bringing back Alonso and having Lindor there, right? They haven't lost a game, by the way, with Lindor homering. I think they're like 20. I think they've won 17 games with him homering. But the pitching has been lights up. So if they end up continuing to pitch the way they are right now with this lineup, they're going to be a lot. They're going to be a handful. They're going to be a handful. Hey, Joke, how long has it been since a team went back-to-back in baseball? It's been since the 2000 Yankees. So the Yankees won in 98, 99, and 2000. The Yankees were a few outs away in Game 7 against the Diamondbacks in 2001 from four-peating. And that game, Luis Gonzalez hit a blooper in the middle to win the game 3-2 in the bottom of the ninth. Yeah, Mariano Rivera. This is a sad story that I got to say, and I always have to bring it up every now and then. Mariano Rivera is the most clutch player in baseball history, statistically, visually, everything. Right. The only memories I have, the staunch memories I have of Mariano Rivera in the playoffs, like ingrained in my head, isn't his closeout wins in those in playoff games. It's 2 games. The game 7 up 2-1, bottom of the ninth against Arizona that he ended up blowing. And then, of course, the game 4 of the Red Sox Yankees ALCS when Roberts stole second and ended up tying the game, and then Ortiz hit a extra inning bomb to win the game. Those are the 2 games that are embedded in my brain. If Rivera closes out the Diamondbacks, they four-peat. If they close out the Red Sox in 04, they probably win the World Series in 04. So those 2 blown saves cost the Yankees two World Series. And we talk about losses stay with you more than wins. I hate losing more than I love winning. All I think about are the losses. With the Lakers, all I think about is 04 and 00 and 08. 08 was a real burner. I mean, 04 was a gut punch, don't get me wrong. But 08 really, really hurts in so many ways. It's the worst series in my life, and a lot of even the Super Bowl losses stung. But the thing with the 08 loss was they were up 20 points late in the third at home, down 2-1. They win game 4. I still feel they'll win game 5 like they did. And then you go home. I'm sorry, you go to Boston with Kobe up 3-2. Kobe's closing that series, man. Kobe would have closed that 6 because he always did. He always closed 6, except for the Portland series in 2000. That was it. When he got the 6 and he had the lead, you were toast. Just ask Denver. Just ask Phoenix. Yeah. Yeah. That was a burner. That one was the burner. So many things could have changed in basketball if they had won that series. So many things. That one series threw off so much of Kobe's career. He's still this. He losing that series or winning it still has Kobe being the same talent, right? But if he wins in 08 and they three-peat a second time, think about that. He three-peats a second time, Michael. He has a 6th championship. He beats Boston twice out of 2 tries, right? And he would have won a championship in an MVP season, which those are rare in itself. The last one I think was Steph Curry in 2015. And the Lakers passed the Celtics in championships. So imagine what that series would have done in the annals of greatness. Because statistics matter to a degree, the talent matters to a degree, but there has to be a recipe that mixes in perfectly for it all to come down to why and who and what is at the top spot. The reason why Michael Jordan is at the top spot is because he never failed and got more on top of it. He never failed on the biggest stage, and he still has more than what everyone else had. So let's go back to that a little bit again. Let's go back to that a little bit. If Kobe wins in 08, he has 6 championships. He would have had 3 straight Finals MVPs. Only him, Michael, and Shaq would have been there, right? Like imagine that. That's another thing too to throw in there. 3 straight Finals MVPs, another Final MVP, right? The Lakers go up a championship against the Celtics to finish off really that decade. So Kobe because Kobe didn't start his first full season because you had the lockout in 1999. That wasn't a full season. He didn't start his rookie year, obviously, and he didn't start his second year in the league, even though he did make the All-Star team that year. His first full 82 game season where he started wasn't until 2000. So Kobe from 2000, the season 2000 till 2010, would have won 6 NBA championships with 2 different dynasties, with 2 different, s- you know, great players next to him. And on top of that, he would have ended it with beating the Celtics in both series. He would have gone 2-0 against Boston, and he would have led the Lakers in taking over the top spot in terms of championships. See how different that stat looks? Kobe's probably sitting next to Jordan at that point. He's probably sitting on the at the same table at that point. That one series. Now, if he beats Detroit too, if he goes 7-0 in the finals, winning 4 out of 5, having 2 three-peats, whew. So you tell me, what do you guys think? What do you think? What do you think the legacy would be? There's parity in baseball and basketball sports causing a lack of dynasties to occur. Well, the thing is with baseball is there seems to be a salary discrepancy. The competition isn't so much winning and losing. The competition is team viability in terms of keeping their players, even though there's been a 25 years since the last repeat champion. If you look at the teams that have won championships since then, let's go down the list. So Arizona in '01 when they beat the Yankees, I think they were pretty stacked with talent. I think they paid a lot of money that year, I remember, and then they ended up uh, thinning out after that. And then you had '02, which you had the Angels. They're considered LA, at least not at that time. But I don't know. I don't remember too many big contracts even for the '02 team. So I'm going to look at Arizona and look at Anaheim as kind of more small market teams. Then in '03, uh, Miami at that time they were Florida, not a big team either. Beat the Yankees by the way in the World Series. Josh Beckett turned into Sandy Koufax in that series. By the way, if you guys want to see pitching and how it can bring you to a title out of nowhere, watch that series. And then you start seeing a little bit more of the big markets. So in '04, you had Boston, one of the big markets. Chicago White Sox won in '05, one of the big markets. 6 went back to St. Louis. '07 went back to the Red Sox. '08, you had Philly. '09, you had the Yankees. So they're going back to the big markets. And then 2010, you had San Francisco win, which is somewhat of a big market. It is a big market. 2011, St. Louis again. Giants in 12, big market. 13, you had Red Sox again. 14, Giants again. 15, you had the small market Royals finally breaking through, beating the big market Mets in that series in 5. Then you had Cleveland, which was a small market, went up 3-1 in that series and should have won that series, but Chicago, big market, ended up winning that series again. 17, Dodgers won that series. And if it wasn't the Dodgers, it would have probably been the Yankees. 18, the Cheaters won. The Red Sox again in that series. Should have been LA. 19, you had Washington. Big market. Yeah. Payroll, sort of. 2020, you had the Dodgers. 2021, you had Atlanta. Not really a big market. At least not in the general sense of like LA, New York, and Chicago. 22, you had Houston win. 23, you had Texas win, and then of course Dodgers again in 24. So there's a mix. There's a mix of mid-range, high payroll, low payroll, big city, not big city. That's parity. Isn't that parity? Nolan Ryan headlocking Robin Ventura, punching his forehead is still hilarious. I remember watching that game live. Robin, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should have never let an old man grab you by the head. By the way, I've done that in a fight, and it's very, very, very effective. If you squeeze hard enough, those guys can't move. I knew it. I knew Mark was going to start talking shit. The Lakers giving LeBron 1+1. No, they are not. Word out of the group is that he's going to opt in. So no 1+1. Thank you, LA, if that's the truth. Suck it, SB. Yes, I like it. Of course, we not paying luxury tax. We are not paying a 40-year-old 50 mil. Well, they're going to pay him 50 mil this next year, but that should be the last year. Ha ha. I played bass for Metallica, brother. Yeah, he did say something like that, didn't he, Aaron? I mean, just say you played drums for AC/DC. Tell him he sang for the Rolling Stones. Just go all the way with it, brother. If you're gonna talk ridiculousness. Lars is a good friend of mine, dude. I am a real American. That's a great song still. Still love hearing it after all these years. I am not a fan of Halliburton. I don't have a problem with Halliburton either way. His game is his game. I mean, look what he's done. It's worked. He needs to win 4 more games, which is going to be hard though. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a sweep, although I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I think it could go 6, but 5 might be. If I had to bet, probably 5. We always they are coming back, then get injured. Snell been sidelined for a month. Well, Snell already made somewhat of an announcement that he's going to be back for the San Diego series. So not a surprise that he wants to come play his old team in a series in San Diego. Which, if he is there, I want to go to the Wednesday game because it's an early game. I love weekday early games because there's no traffic and there's not a lot of people hovering around they are on the weekends. So I'm hoping that he starts that game. Now, if he starts the Tuesday game at night, I may make that trip too. I don't know. I have to wait and see how my day plays out. Hey, Joe, gonna have to discuss that wrestling Mount Rushmore, Joe. Yeah. Let me see here. I know I'm behind on a lot of the talk here, guys. Aaron has Hogan, Savage, Austin, and Rock. The reason why I don't have Rock and Savage up there is, as transcendent as those two were, how do you not put Ric Flair and Andre the Giant in there? Austin is there's no argument. Austin is what Hogan was in the 80s for the 90s. There's no doubt. Austin, even though I think WCW should get even credit on this, especially the NWO, the Attitude Era is Austin's face, even more so than The Rock. Austin spoke a little bit more than The Rock, in my view. And then when you look at the whole package, you can't. I'm sorry, you cannot leave out Ric Flair, who carried a promotion for 20 years. You cannot keep Flair out of there, and you cannot keep Andre. Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant. That's like the George Washington of wrestling. So, but Savage was great. No Rock was great. You don't lose in that choice, but I just can't see. I can't see a better 4 on that thing than Hogan, Andre, Austin, and Flair. There's no other way. There's no other way I can't go any other way at this point. Yeah, they were up 24, Aaron, in the game, but they were up 20 late in the third. That's a burner. That's a burner. Hey, Joe, does 08 loss string as much as Ralph Sampson? I was too young for that, JY. It did bother my dad, though, God rest his soul. And it bothered a lot of Laker people. That loss killed them because you didn't see shots like that go in with 1 second. You would think that back in the day, there was a lot of clutch shots. There were, but it was very rare. That was as rare as they got. A 1 second, last second shot, those were rare. And everybody wanted Celtics Lakers. They thought they were going to get a third, kind of the rubber match in '86 to see who was gonna win that, because at that time, the Celtics won in '84, Lakers came back and won in '85, and they thought '86 would be that team. And I don't know how that would have played out, because I the Celtics have an argument that even though they weren't the best team of the '80s, it's still the Lakers. They may have had the best single season team in '86. That team was stacked. They had one loss the entire year at home. I'm talking playoffs and regular season. One loss at home. Bill won Sixth Man of the Year that year. Larry Bird won his third MVP. Everyone was healthy. Ainge was good. Dennis Johnson was good. McHale was good. Larry Bird was at his peak. Parrish was good. Like, '86 would have been a tough finals for the Lakers to win. Yes, we do, Aaron. And it'll again, that's the experiment will always be the experiment because of that. I believe if Chris Paul went to the Lakers, they wouldn't be a louder team for. Oh, no doubt, JS. No doubt. That derailed Kobe's chance at even I don't know if it would have been a longer career. I think 20 years was good. But I feel very confident that if Chris Paul comes to LA, he's winning at least one more title. At least one more title. And he's not probably blowing out his Achilles, because the distribution of power would have been evened out a little bit more. Yeah, they Stern. I, we're supposed to have a show on this. Jeff has not been able to get this together, but Jeff had mentioned that there was another option that the Lakers ended up not going with after the veto, and apparently it's not all David Stern's fault. For me, whatever. It's a gut punch that never goes away, and it's always going to be a what if, right? Cubs and Red Sox were close to being a '03 World Series. They were. Cubs, uh, Bartman. If Moises Alou didn't go ape shit after the Bartman catch, I think the Cubs would have been fine. I think when they saw Moises Alou throw a massive hissy fit, it completely unhinged everybody's mental focus. I really, really, really believe that. If Moises Alou had I'm not saying what he did was wrong. I'm just saying if he hadn't reacted that way, I think everyone would have said, "Oh man, it was just, he couldn't get to it or something like that." So whatever. I don't care. The hell with the Red Sox and the hell with the Cubs. I don't give a shit about any of them. Fenway versus Wrigley. A lot of history there, at least. That's for sure. Do you think we'll eventually see super teams again? Jay, are you talking about basketball or baseball? I'm finally caught up, by the way. Let's be real. Who wants to see Thomas Bryant win a second ring? I swear I forget that guy's on that team. Yes, but it would have to be through the draft. It would have to be something like Presti drafting Durant, Westbrook, and Harden in consecutive drafts. Something like that. And that should have been a dynasty. But I'm not going to press on Presti on this one a little hard, because I remember sometimes, when people look back, this is why it's important to be, if you're going to analyze something, a lot of times it's hard to analyze from not being there, not having the pulse of what was going on in the league or games at that time. The problem with not keeping Harden wasn't all entirely Presti's fault. Had more to do with the fact that Harden had such a horrible 2012 finals that They didn't think he'd ever be what he ended up becoming because of it. He was six man, and that was it. And they didn't want to pay him max money to a six man because he didn't know at the time that he would turn into 2018 Harden. However, had they not traded him, had they given him the max, it could have been a run. They may have taken a couple of titles away from Golden State. I don't know which ones though. Maybe probably 15. I'd say probably the 15 one. I don't think anybody would have taken one of 17 or 18. I think at some point they would have won something there. I know Durant was on both those teams, maybe not. I don't know. But I'd say they probably would have split the four that Golden State won. Let's see, where else are we? I think so. We're all caught up. Well, we're caught up. We talked a little Dodgers. Obviously, that was the point of opening up the show today. Talked the Lakers. Talked a little of everything here. Again, that's what we do here. I really hope Luka improves his defense since he's losing weight. I'm hoping that the Lakers put the right players around Luka so Luka doesn't have to kill himself during an 82 game run. That press, those traps. The Lakers have to build this team around avoiding combating that issue with Luka, making sure that teams pay for trapping Luka every other time he comes across half court. That is first and foremost what the Lakers need to do. They gotta they gotta handle LeBron for another year, and maybe they'll get lucky and get some guys that can go on one more last run for LeBron and see if they can win it with LeBron. If not, once this next year's over, if they don't win it, I'm crossing my fingers that LeBron goes off into the sunset and lets this team be what it needs to be with Luka being the leader. And with that, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I know I didn't warn a lot of you, and again, I thought of this as seventh and eighth innings were being developed. A lot of my good friend Money Mark from Australia was asking me if I'd have a show tonight, and he'd asked me a couple times if I was going to have a show, and I said no. I felt obligated tonight, and I'm glad I did one. With that, again, thank you all for being here. Jay, Aaron, Craig, Mark, Vari, Jeremy, our new guy, Adorable Snowflake. Please like, subscribe, and share. We will have more shows as things start to progress and things get more exciting. Obviously, the draft and the NBA is coming. NFL training camp will be here in about a month. We're going to be talking a lot of sports. We're talking a lot of smack. And you'll get a chance for the first time, if you're on here for the first time, to really get a feel for the personality of the show. Until then, have a great morning, have a great afternoon, have a great evening, and until next time, we'll see you next time.